It's not just a skyscraper. It's a 670-foot tombstone. Standing right here in Lower Manhattan, in one of the most valuable zip codes on Earth, is a building worth $250 million that not a single person has ever slept in. Not one night, not 1 hour. You walk past it, you might even look up at it. Half its glass is missing. Its upper floors are open to the sky, and deep inside its concrete skeleton, something is happening right now that nobody can stop. It's moving, slowly, silently, inch by inch. This tower is leaning. And here's what makes this story unlike anything you've seen before. The people who built it can't fix it. The city can't demolish it. And the 72 families who paid deposits to live here, they lost everything. To understand how a $272 million skyscraper becomes an untouchable ghost, we have to go back 400 years, to the moment the Dutch decided to cheat geography itself. In the 1600s, the Dutch settlers of New Amsterdam had a problem. Manhattan's southern tip was too small, so they did what ambitious people do. They invented more land. They pushed the shoreline of the East River outward, filling the water with whatever they could find: rocks, sand, old timber, broken bricks, ship ballast, garbage. They called it landfill, but really it was organized chaos packed into the earth and declared solid ground. The street they built on top of it, they named it Maiden Lane. For 3 centuries, that decision sat quietly underground, forgotten, buried, irrelevant. Low-rise buildings came and went. Maritime warehouses lined the block. Artists moved in during the 1950s. The neighborhood changed 12 times over. Then, in 2007, a developer looked at this unremarkable corner of Lower Manhattan and saw something extraordinary. The last stretch of the East River waterfront in Lower Manhattan that didn't yet have a luxury residential tower on it. The site changed hands twice. In 2013, Fortis Property Group paid $64 million for the land. Their vision: a 60-story glass tower, 670 feet tall, 80 luxury condominiums, river views, infinity pool, spa, the first luxury residential tower directly fronting the water in all of downtown Manhattan. They called it One Seaport, and underneath it, packed beneath the ambition, beneath the marketing brochures, beneath the $1.5 million starting price for a studio apartment, sat 400 years of Dutch trash, waiting. Here is the detail that changes everything. Every single skyscraper surrounding 161 Maiden Lane shares one engineering principle. They drill steel piles deep into Manhattan's bedrock. It has been the standard since the late 1800s. You go down until you hit something that doesn't move. In this part of the financial district, that means about 50 feet down, through soil, through clay, through sand, until the drill finds solid granite that hasn't shifted in 500 million years. That's your foundation. That's how you build a skyscraper. Fortis chose not to do it. Their engineers looked at the site, sitting on that 400-year-old colonial landfill, layered beneath it with marshland, glacial sand deposits, and decomposed rock all the way down to bedrock 155 feet below. And they proposed a different method: jet grouting. High-pressure cement injected into the weak soil, theoretically transforming it into a semi-solid mat, a concrete raft, a foundation that floats. The savings? $6 million on a $272 million project, 2.2%. To save 2 cents on every dollar, they skipped the rule that every engineer in Manhattan has followed for 130 years. Construction begins in 2015. The contractor is Pizzarati LLC, an Italian construction firm. From the very first months, the site is troubled. Between January and September 2017, the New York City Department of Buildings issues 10 code violations against Pizzarati. Labor unions mount protests outside the building. An inflatable rat stares up at the rising skeleton. Then, in September 2017, a worker falls from the 29th floor. His safety harness had jammed in a scaffolding platform. A foreman ordered the platform to move with workers still on it. The man falls. He dies. The subcontractor later pleads guilty to manslaughter and is fined $10,000, the maximum allowed under New York state law at the time. $10,000 for a human life on a $250 million project. By April 2018, the building has reached its full height. It tops out at 60 stories, and somewhere in the concrete, deep in the foundation mat beneath the streets of Lower Manhattan, a corner has begun to sink. A subcontractor notices it first. The numbers don't add up. He takes measurements. Then he takes them again. The building is leaning 3 inches to the north. Now, 3 inches sounds like nothing. You've seen bigger gaps under a door, but understand what 3 inches means at the top of a 670-foot tower. The geometry of a skyscraper amplifies every deviation exponentially. 3 inches at the base becomes something far more sinister at the 60th floor. The glass curtain wall, the panels that would have made this building gleam across the East River, can no longer be installed. The anchor points are misaligned. The windows won't seal. The elevators won't run true. Water will find every gap and pour inside. Pizzarati informs Fortis. Fortis hires engineers to assess the damage. WSP USA looks at the numbers and calls the lean manageable. But Thornton Tomasetti, the firm hired by Pizzarati themselves, tells a different story. Their licensed engineer puts it in writing. The settlement values predicted have been exceeded already, and the full dead load of the building has not yet been added, and the building occupants have not yet moved in. The ongoing movement of the top of the building long after top out suggests that this long-term creep behavior is far more significant than the short-term movement. In plain language, it is still moving, and it hasn't even been loaded with furniture yet, with people, with water, with HVAC units, with the full weight of an occupied building pressing down on that floating concrete raft. What happens next is almost incomprehensible. Rather than stop and address the foundation, the actual problem, the new contractor tries to counterweight the lean. They pour the concrete slabs on the south side of the upper floors slightly out of alignment, deliberately uneven, hoping the extra weight will pull the building back. It doesn't work. By 2019, some individual floors are 10 inches out of alignment. And in a New York City courtroom, a lawyer looks at a judge and says 4 words that have never been said about a Manhattan skyscraper before. Your Honor, it's shaped like a banana right now. In spring 2019, Pizzarati sues Fortis. Fortis countersues. Both sides blame each other entirely. The contractor says the developer chose a foundation method that was never going to work. The developer says the contractor failed to survey the site and failed to keep workers safe. Both things may be true. By summer 2019, Fortis publicly acknowledges the lien for the first time. They call it manageable. But here's what they don't say publicly. They have continued selling apartments throughout 2018 and into 2019. Buyers have paid deposits, signed contracts, made upgrade selections. 72 of the building's 98 units are under contract. People have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars above the base price to customize their apartments. Custom finishes, upgraded kitchens, specific tiles selected from catalogs for rooms they will never see. All of that money is gone. Pizzarati is replaced. The new contractor tries to adapt the curtain wall design to accommodate the lien. Some glass goes up. Then in July 2020, the replacement contractor accuses Fortis of not paying its workers. Work stops. In 2021, the replacement contractor resigns from the project entirely. And then, silence. Construction at 161 Maiden Lane ceases completely. Half the glass is missing. The upper floors sit open to the sky. Rain enters. Wind moves through the concrete skeleton. And at the very top of the building, where the engineers had planned to install giant sloshing dampers, liquid-filled tanks that counteract the sway of a slender tower in high winds, they were never installed. The building sways in East River gusts with nothing to slow it down. In May 2023, FDNY fire inspectors enter the building. What they find is alarming. The standpipe, the internal fire suppression system that gives firefighters immediate water access from the ground all the way to the roof, has been out of commission for more than a year. If a fire starts on an upper floor, there is no way to fight it from inside. The building that was supposed to be the most luxurious address in Lower Manhattan is now, officially, a fire hazard. To fix the lean, engineers would need to address the foundation. That means excavating underneath a 60-story concrete structure that is already moving. In the middle of Lower Manhattan, meters from the FDR Drive, meters from the East River, surrounded by active buildings, active roads, active subway tunnels. The repair cost estimates exceed $350 million. That's more than the entire building cost to build in the first place. No bank will finance it. No insurance company will write a policy on it. Without insurance, no lender will touch it. Without a lender, no contractor will start. Without a contractor, nothing moves. And demolition of a 60-story reinforced concrete skyscraper in Lower Manhattan is not a weekend job with a wrecking ball. The building sits on a narrow lot, bordered on one side by the FDR Drive, one of Manhattan's most critical roads, and on the other by active city streets. A controlled implosion in this environment is essentially impossible without shutting down the surrounding infrastructure for months. The debris has nowhere to go. And even if all of that were solved, you would still need to deal with what's underneath. That 400-year-old landfill, now partially grouted, sitting on unstable sand and marshland above bedrock that is 155 feet down. Whatever goes in that hole next faces the same problem. The ground itself is the trap. There is a version of this story that is purely about money. $64 million for the land. $272 million estimated to repair it, plus years of legal fees, all ongoing, all accumulating, all paid by lawyers solving nothing. But the version that stays with you is simpler. 72 families signed contracts for this building. They chose their floors. They picked their finishes. They looked at the renderings and imagined standing at a floor-to-ceiling window watching the sunrise over the East River. One decision, made before construction even began, made to save $6 million on a $272 million project, erased all of it. The man who fell from the 29th floor didn't make that decision. The workers who showed up every day didn't make it. The 72 buyers who lost their deposits certainly didn't make it. One developer, one foundation method. $6 million. And now a 670-foot monument to what happens when the people spending other people's money decide the rules apply to everyone except them. As of today, 161 Maiden Lane stands exactly where it always has. Number completion date. No demolition date. No approved repair plan. No insurance. No active lender. It looks like 2018. It will stand here, leaning empty, open to the rain, for years more, perhaps decades, unless something changes that nobody has yet figured out how to change. It's not just a failed building. It's a legal black hole, a financial impossibility, and an engineering riddle wearing the skin of a luxury tower, all at once, on one of the most valuable corners of Manhattan. They said the Dutch landfill was good enough. This building proved that the ground underneath a city remembers everything, and eventually, it always collects. There are dozens of buildings like this. One, hiding in plain sight, frozen between fixing and falling, trapped in legal and financial limbo that nobody talks about. Next time, we're going inside one that makes 161 Maiden Lane look like a minor inconvenience. If you want to know which building that is before everyone else, subscribe. The notification is the only way you'll catch it the moment it drops.